Coming to you from the land of enchantment, Albuquerque, New Mexico, but heard in all four corners of the world. This is another sports rant, bringing you the juiciest sports drama, as well with the sharpest statistics sports has to offer, but most importantly, my own brilliant opinion. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. But if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, please leave a rating and a review on that front. That really helps me out. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, like and subscribe and comment whatever you want to feel. It's purely up to you. If you want to type something hateful, that's awesome. If you also please go follow all of my social medias: TikTok, Instagram, X. I show updates, other things, but yeah, let's get straight to it, ladies and gentlemen, because oh boy, do we have a show for you. So I know I've been gone for a couple of days. I've been on vacation for about a week now. To Dallas, saw some cool shit. Got to see Caitlin Clark. She played. Got to see a lot of cool stuff. Got to visit, do some fun things. It'll come out in a video later. I won't spoil all the details for you, but just keep an eye out for that on my Instagram and TikTok. I'll throw it up here on YouTube too if you want. But if you're listening on Spotify, that's where you'll find it. Um, but yeah, we got a lot to get into. We got the NBA draft. Um, just happened. Uh, First overall was going straight to Cooper Flag, Ace Cooper Flag, and then Dylan Harper immediately. I've said a lot about Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, the two Rutgers guys. I'm very hesitant on both of them, but they're both. It's very weird with NBA prospects. It's not like the NFL where they've had like 4 years of college. We see them as a star. They're immediately boom, instantaneously good. It's kind of a process, especially with these guys being so young, just coming out of high school and kind of like they're one and done. So it's not really like necessarily you know a bunch about them, and so it's difficult to kind of see. Um, like it's difficult to predict what is going to happen with them, right? Predicting trying to predict things with them is weird, but my prediction with them is one of them is going to be a bust. Like it's not like anything against either of them. I hope they all do very well, but especially the way Ace Bailey was acting after he was drafted to the Utah Jazz, and he was like, and it took him a while to uh, to get to Utah, like to like board the plane and do all that stuff. And it was like his reaction kind of seemed like weird, and they were just like it was just like it seemed very like, oh, I didn't want to go. He didn't want to go to the Sixers, or he didn't want to do this, or he didn't do that, and it was very like kind of like spoiled child. And it was like, you know what? I can kind of tell now. It's like, oh, you had this very you have this image of yourself, and which is like, you know what, athletes can have ego, and that's not necessarily saying that they can't have ego. It's just like you haven't done nothing at this level. This is your opportunity. So kind of greet it like an opportunity, like you are getting drafted to the NBA. But and that's beside the point. I think the only one the I think Cooper and Dylan Harper will do well in where they land. Like the Spurs and the Mavericks are looking up. I got to see Cooper actually um, in my when I was in Dallas. He was at the same WNBA game I was at, so it was really cool. A bunch of other stuff. We have a bunch of free agency moves happening today. Like I'm just looking at Twitter. Big one. Jordan Clarkson is expected to sign with the New York Knicks after his free agency waivers clears from Shams. Um, that's actually kind of huge. Um, Free agent center Mason Plumlee has agreed to a 1-year, $3.6 million deal with the Charlotte Hornets, and there's another really big one. Let me see. Uh, a lot of guys moving around. Luke Cornett, the backup center for the Celtics, signed a $41 million deal with the Spurs, so he's going to probably be backing up Wemby. That's going to be interesting. He's a good stretch big, really good at at all kind of levels. Trying to find another notable one. I think it was Luca Garza also. Luca Garza also signed a $5.5 million deals with the Celtics. It's kind of weird because the East feels very open. Um, oh yeah. One more thing before I go into my rant about the Eastern Conference. It was that D'Angelo Russell signed a deal with the Mavericks. So that's some. He signed a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Mavericks, according to Shams. Blah blah blah, and yeah, so that he was. It's really this is like the breaking day for free agency. It's just a bunch of shit just moving around. A lot of guys from the Lakers moving, like Dorian Finney-Smith, who moved to the Rockets. Um, I think I already talked about Kevin Durant moving to the Rockets and what that does for the Suns. It's just kind of that was a really interesting trade. But like Memphis signed Jaren Jackson Jr. and it just okay, and like now getting into the kind of covers of big major ones. People care about those ones, but that's about it. Um, I'll keep you updated as it refreshes, but other than that, it's the Eastern Conference feels very wide open right now. I think there is like 3 teams that could probably um, move around in that specific conference. It kind of feels very open, feels very just like oh shit. There's a lot moving. Like there's going to be a lot of stuff happening moving forward because the Magic, the Pistons, and the Knicks are all trying to get better because there's a lot of Jason Tatum's gone. Um, Tyrese Halliburton will be out for the season. The Cavs kind of feel like in a little vulnerable area because Jared Allen's contract and what's going to all break down in that. So we will see what kind of goes down in that specific area. What's going to go? Um, what is going to happen? Um, and uh, it's just very just muddy waters at this point. So it's going to be really like it was wide open for a couple of years until like the Celtics got very good, and it's like yeah, this is the Celtics and everybody else. This year it felt very much like oh the Celtics are going to go back to the finals, go back to back, and then that was not the case at all. We actually had the Pacers really just show out everybody, and then they lose Halliburton, and the Celtics lose Tatum, and then the Celtics are moving a lot of pieces. They moved Drew Holiday to the Trailblazers for Anthony Simons, and so that it's just there's just a lot of just mixing. The Magic look a lot better with that Desmond Bain. Like it just there's a lot of movement, and it kind of feels very wide open. I like the Pistons to go through the East, like they're still the Knicks and like all that other stuff. I think the Knicks will Knicks, but Knicks are gonna Knicks. But it's gonna be an exciting, interesting 2025-26 season in the Eastern Conference for sure. And like the West has always just been full of juggernauts, especially with like KD staying there. So EA Sports just came out that they're announcing that in 2026 they will come out with a EA college basketball game, and I am super bummed about it because they haven't had one since like 2010, and I never actually got to play that one. I played 2K, but I feel like these college games that we get to play are so much more fun because it's like, oh, I get to go beat the Lobos, and I will, oh yeah, like we're gonna go take them to the national championship, and you can like fulfill that, like just like puff myself up a little bit, be like, hell yeah, you know what? I fixed the Lobos, did that, like all on my own. Yeah, I'm him, right? But um, I think it's super cool. I love these games where it's like, yeah, like it's like you don't really know, and that's what makes it more fun. Like the college football games are pretty slick. UNM football actually looks like, I know it's just like off season workouts and things, but I really am hyped for Jason Eck. I am hyped for Coach Eck. I'm like excited to see what he does with the program. I'm excited to see Jack Lane just out there slinging the rock. Because I know he was a little bit like, he was only at Idaho. He was only like the partial starter. He came in and out, but in the games that I watched, his game against Oregon, who was like, there were NFL teams, NFL players on that team. That was a team that was ranked number one in the country when it came to the playoffs. Yeah, that was a team that beat the national champions uh, in uh, in the regular season. This is a team that also went toe to toe with the national champions in the playoffs. So it's like it's kind of a like a shock to see. It's like, oh, you know what? We kind of might. It's never I've never really felt hopeful for New Mexico football before. But we will see. They look really good. I just like, just from like the hype videos from the practices we've seen. Um, it's been an exciting couple of weeks. Um, but uh, I really want to go out there and see one of these Lobos games in University Stadium. I know that like this first game is going to be rough against Michigan, but I'm looking forward to it. I want to make a TikTok about that because if they win that game, I would be like, I would be like shocked. I would be like, there's nothing we can't do, right? We played a ranked team going into last season, like Idaho State, where they went and played a team last Idaho. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say Idaho State. They were Idaho. Idaho went in and played Oregon last season and played them well. I'm excited to see it, and also with this new NCAA um, the House ruling that the schools can directly pay their players. I am excited because like UNM is not necessarily like UNM in New Mexico is one of the probably the biggest brand, like the biggest not biggest brand, but like the biggest moneymaker in New Mexico. Like as like an individual, they make the most money. So I'm excited to see it all. We actually in other UNM news too, Heron Carson, a recent UNM alum, is going to make his way to the PGA Tour to debut at the John Deere Classic after advancing to Monday's qualifier. So you know what? That's pretty damn cool. We got Lobos in the PGA Tour. This is off season. This is some off season news. Good gosh, we are really deep into it. I got to figure out something to uh, something to compensate for all this because we got some new additions, but like I like for podcasting stuff, like we're getting pretty dry. So I'm probably gonna come out with a lot more like pack polls and other stuff. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, let's fucking go. So this is an interesting little piece from Adam Schefter. Um, the sources in recent weeks multiple teams have been discussing whether they can trade the Steelers for standout TJ Watt, who skipped the team's most recent minicamp, and Pittsburgh hasn't shown willingness to deal Watt so far, but he is unhappy with his contractual situation. Sources believe the outside team interest is likely to increase given today's trade. that trade being the Dolphins trading the Steelers Jalen Ramsey in exchange for Micah Fitzpatrick. Uh, it's just kind of a very little tidbit, interesting thing there. So that trade included Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and a 2027 seventh round pick. That's what the Steelers got, and then the Dolphins get Micah Fitzpatrick and a fifth rounder. So it's just very much it was kind of the swap of the older CBs. So it's like it kind of just feels like the Steelers are kind of getting old and kind of rickety, and I don't really love this. I don't really like this whole trade thing, and I don't know. And like scrolling up, I see that Adam Schefter is saying the Steelers are adamant that they want T.J. Watt to finish his career in Pittsburgh, but T.J. Watt wants to finish his career in Pittsburgh is yet to be seen. More multiple teams. This is just from an hour ago. More about multiple teams mulling whether or not to trade for standout pass rusher T.J. Watt, who skipped most recent minicamp. Well, they're everybody's queuing up for the girl who seems to like they're sliding into the DMs as she didn't post her boyfriend on their 6-month anniversary or something like that, right? And they're like, oh, who knows? This is deep off season shit we're getting into right now. This is like the we're in the sports desert. So we are getting to talk about a lot of trades, who's getting moved where, and it's a lot of bad predictions because not everybody has their full team yet. A lot of mini camps still going on. We're not in training camp. The baseball is still kind of in it, like a little bit. Like I saw Shohei actually like had a great pitching night the other night. Threw like I had like 3 different pitches go over 100 miles an hour. I was like, good lord, isn't that dude a freak? Um, but it's not like we're not past the MLB All Star Game. So we're just like in purgatory, like in like the desert, the sports desert right now, and that's why like a lot of guys who talk about sports, like myself, kind of take a vacation. You don't have to like really pay attention. It is nice now that the WNBA is interesting, like has like interest, because it does give us more stuff to talk about. Um, that being said, like it is like the WNBA, but like that was I will talk about that more in my video about W because that was a wild experience. That was super cool. I've never been like more excited, like had more fun at a sports event. But that's just a teaser. We won't let that sink in. But yeah, that is insane for because like I feel like Jalen Ramsey's like career has been very interesting. He started off very well with the Jags. This is just going back to that. Um, uh, they're they have a really like he was really good with the Jaguars. I remember um he was part of that team that made the AFC Championship game because I remember him talking a lot of shit to Tom Brady and then getting kind of embarrassed by him, especially in that second half. Um, but uh, then he got moved to the Rams, where he won a Super Bowl. He was really good there for the Rams. The Rams moved off him, and then he's kind of just slipped into irrelevancy from then because it's like, yeah, you know what? It's like yeah, you were on that Rams team that won a Super Bowl, but you weren't the marquee piece even on defense. You were corners are weird because they don't really play on the ball. It's like if you're a really good corner, you don't get the ball thrown at you. Like you're not part of every play, right? It's like as a D tackle or as a linebacker or as any other play on the defensive end. It's like yeah, if you're a good corner, they're not going to throw the ball at you. If you're a bad corner, they're going to throw the ball at you a lot because you notice that whenever a corner goes down, it's like boom, immediately target is back up, or it's like oh throw at him, right? They never throw at Christian Gonzalez and Pat Surtain because it's a bad idea. They never threw at Ed Reed because you like, and that was one of Ed Reed's geniuses. Is like, yeah, he could make it look like he wasn't in coverage until he was, and then it was like, oh, they're throwing it away from him, and they're not actually. So it is interesting, and I know like he hasn't put up like monster numbers, but he's just not been healthy, and he just kind of seems at the tail end of his career. Like the athleticism of being like a number one corner is kind of gone because it's like you need to be the quick, the like it seems like it's kind of gone for him. T.J. Watt also kind of seems like they just seem old. Like the Steelers seem really old and clunky, and like it's like that fantasy team when you're like the people draft their fantasy team and like they draft like OBJ and Deshaun Watson, and it's like, oh, you haven't watched football in a few years. But yeah, this is, we can tell, and it kind of pains me to say, but it's like, yeah, it's like they're kind of old. Aaron Rodgers is not a maybe a top 20 quarterback in this league at 40. He used to be in the same conversation as Tom Brady. That's out of the question. He's fighting to be in the same conversation as Kirk Cousins right now. Well, he's better than Kirk Cousins, but like fighting to be in the same like people are like debating whether or not they should have kept Justin Fields. That's the boat he's in now. Tom Brady was still in the conversation as yeah, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league when he was 40. So I don't want it to like tarnish like how good Aaron Rodgers was, because Aaron Rodgers was great. But it feels like the Steelers feel like a retirement home. And it feels like instead of investing in an offensive line and building around this old quarterback who is good, who still has it's all still here. He's just not he doesn't have like the mobility that he had, because especially from that injury, and even his last year in Green Bay was kind of rough. We don't remember they went like 9-8. So even with like if you build a little bit around, and then he had his Achilles injury, right? And then so if we need to build around him, if I'm the Steelers GM, I'm trying to build around him. I'm trying to get protection and weapons and running backs and easy check down shit instead of Jalen Ramsey. Like I don't give a shit. Like yeah, we can trade my Minka Fitzpatrick. Like yeah, that's fine. Like if we can make it up like on the other ends, like it's not going to be a deficit, right? We don't need like we don't need Jalen Ramsey. We need like a left tackle. We need some guards. We need people who can get in the way of Myles Garrett. I mean, like nobody can, but still, who can slow him down a little bit so that Rodgers can deliver the ball on time and not get killed, so that our starting quarterback is not like dead. But this is just complete. Even if it's